Welcome into another edition of the Holton Ayler Show. Got Sneed on the other side of the line, my guy. A lot of great memories with him. Excited to talk about it. Hope you enjoy the show. If not, as always.
Holton Aylers turns, and Holton will take off and run himself. He's at the 40-yard line. Holton Aylers to the 30. Look at him go! 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Pirates!
There's local politics, bud.
It's showtime!
And we are back. And on the other side, great memories. Probably one of my favorite teammates of all time. Sneed, what's up, brother?
What's up? How you doing? Been good.
Let's go. All right, so talk about Canada, man. Update us a little bit because you've been on the IR. You were just telling me that you're back this week. So give the fans an update on your football career first, and we'll dive into some stories.
Yeah, up in Canada for my second year this year. Week one, unfortunately, went down with a broken foot. So I broke my foot in 3 places. I broke my second, third, and fourth metatarsal. So that put me out a little bit, but this is actually going to be my first week back. So I'm looking forward to this Saturday playing in Calgary.
Let's go. Dude, first of all, that sucks. I didn't realize you broke it that badly. I thought it was, just like an ankle injury or something.
Yeah.
Talk about like the style of Canada and how you ended up there. And like, you've been really successful. You won obviously a Grey Cup. Just talk about, the style of Canada and kind of how you fit in there.
Yeah, it's a little different. Obviously the field's a little bigger, which I enjoy. I like having a little more room out there to work with. They added extra guys. They have 12 men on the field at all times. And then what I kind of had to adjust to, the main thing whenever I first got there was the defenses, because it is a little different from what I'm used to seeing, just because that extra person can kind of roam around. They can play the third, the half, rob, whatever they kind of need to do. So those are kind of like the differences in the game up here. But I like it better because obviously, like I said, more room. You get the run and start, which is kind of weird from coming down south, but I'm used to it more now than I was last year. Just a lot of the stuff for me, I just had to figure out, timing, which foot I want up at the line, all that stuff. But I've enjoyed it, and I think it's worked out pretty well for me, and I've enjoyed being up here, and I'm trying to stick up here for a while now.
Let's go, dude. You had a really good year last year, and like, you talk about you guys going to win. Like, I remember I saw your dad, and he was just telling about the parade of y'all winning the championship and stuff. Talk about like the fans that you guys have, because like a lot of people don't realize how big it is up there. Just kind of dive into that aspect of it.
No, it's huge up here. It's actually a really big deal, which is kind of cool because I didn't know what to expect coming up here. But man, I've loved it. The fans are great. The fans are awesome. And what's unique about Montreal, where I'm at, is it's a French province, so a lot of the guys are French. A lot of the fans are French Canadian. So Montreal kind of has their own unique fan base and that aspect of things, which makes it cool because now, I'm trying to learn some French. A lot of the other guys are trying to learn some French too. So it just makes the whole community kind of grow closer together. So I've enjoyed it a lot.
All right, well, let's hear it. Let's hear some French.
Bonjour, comment ça va? Je m'appelle Tyler. Comment tu t'appelles? A little bit. Just I'm not.
Let's go.
It doesn't sound good if you were to speak it to me. It's really hard to understand because they don't like pronounce a whole lot. But I'm trying to learn. I'm open to learning, so I'm trying to learn some new things.
I remember when we were first talking about it, you were texting. You're like, "Yeah, dude, everyone speaks French up here. I've had to get used to it." That is hilarious.
It was weird, but now I'm just used to it, and so I mean, I can say thank you, no thank you, stuff like that. But I can't hold a conversation. Not yet. I'm not that good yet. Maybe a couple more years.
For sure. All right, let's talk about the ECU days. Let's start from the beginning, honestly. You came in as a walk-on, worked your way up really, really quickly, balled out versus UConn, like we both kind of, started as true freshmen. Talk about the process of that, and we'll get into some stories of it, but like Coach Mo obviously recruited you here. You earned a scholarship, and then Coach Houston gets here, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, you had to re-earn the scholarship. Didn't you have to do that?
Yeah, it was, with the new staff coming in, we went away. It was kind of bad timing in my case, because we went for that Christmas break. And then coming back, I guess we come back middle of January for spring workouts and stuff. That was my first time having a meeting with Coach Houston. And I just remember somebody told me, hey, you need to go talk to him about your scholarship and stuff, because I was told it was going to get pushed through. And then that first meeting, it was basically just like, look, we haven't seen enough film of you right now.
Bruh.
Looking at you here, you just 5'7", little slot dude, 160 pounds. Like, we don't know what you can do yet, which is understandable because I only played the 4 games the year before, so I understand wanting to see a little more tape. And then it just gave me a little chip on my shoulder for that spring, especially. And so I was blessed to earn it back in that spring. But yeah, that was just kind of a crazy ride. That whole first year and a half was kind of crazy for me.
Man had to earn it 2 times. Yeah, that sucks, dude. I remember that. We were all pretty pissed about that. Like, because, dude, you balled out. Like, your first game, you had 3 touchdowns. Like, you went crazy that game, and then the games after that, you were like literally our best receiver because Trayvon Brown was like off and on. So that was kind of wild.
No, it was a wild time for me. I just remember whenever they told me I was going to be up, he handed me the packets from week like 1 through 8 and was like, "Hey, make sure you know everything." And I was like, "Okay." So, yeah, that was a wild couple weeks for me. And then obviously after the season, that's when the roller coaster really started.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I mean, it was smooth sailing for the most part.
He balled after that, dude. You remember when Coach Mo was fired? I remember the practice. It was heading up to the state week, and we
Yeah.
were practicing, and Coach Mo was over there on the phone. There was already rumors that he was going to get fired, and he was over there on the phone, and we were like, "Is Coach Mo getting fired right now? Like, he's not coaching us or anything." And then he ended the practice and came and talked to us, and we were like, "Yeah, like just normal practice." And then we're like, "I guess he didn't get fired." And then like 15 minutes later, we were in the locker room. We're like, "Team meeting, you got to be here at 2:00." We're like, "Yeah, he's definitely fired."
Yeah, I remember it was like exam week, and they were like, You're exempt from exams. Like, come to this meeting at 2:00." Like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know it's happening."
Yeah. All right, let's go into the deep dive of it because we went through. I mean, we came to ECU obviously like with the coaching change and stuff. Like we didn't win right away. We had to build the culture. Like obviously, Coach Houston came in. You had to earn your way, but kind of everyone did. But you specifically, there was times, and people don't know these conversations. Me and Blake talked about it a little bit when he came on. Do you remember the times after practice when me, you, and Blake we like especially after like the SMU game? Specifically, I remember like we put up like 500 yards in offense and lost. And then after like that next Sunday practice, we were all sitting there and we would always stay after and throw. And we were all sitting there like, dude, we got to transfer next year. We are not going to, we can't win games here. And we just literally like, it was tough because we were going crazy. I'm pretty sure you had like 5 touchdowns one of those games. You're like, we're still losing. Like, we're like, what do we got to do to win here? Do you remember that?
Yeah, those Sunday conversations throwing the ball after 4 quarters those were crucial combos, huh? That Yeah, I remember all those off seasons too, just waiting to see what everybody else was kind of doing, seeing who was going to come back, like trying to get the word to drop on everybody just to see what we were going to do. I didn't want us to break up, but if we had to, I just remember like I want to win. Everybody wanted to win, and that's not. I mean, we all just too competitive.
No, 100%. There was some tough times. I mean, obviously, you left a year early, which we're gonna get to. But
Yeah.
that one year when we made it to the bowl game for the first time, like I'll never forget like that Memphis game and those stuff like that. Like that was what made it worth it. Wish you could have been there for the Birmingham Bowl. So let's get into that exactly. I already know some reasoning behind it, but just like go into that decision and how hard it was to leave a year early and pursue pro ball.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough decision for me personally, just because like my heart was torn between two. I had 2 years left of eligibility, and so part of me wanted to come back, part of me wanted to leave. So honestly, just I mean, I know I told you, but like through a lot of prayers with my family, just talking to God, doing devotionals, a lot of that led me to my decision. But I guess football wise too, I think it just felt right for me. But I know a lot like going through the process, I made a pros and cons list, and you know some of the things were just like if you go back and you have a great year, say you hit 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns or whatever, it's not going to really change your draft stock or where where you want to go, where they're going to take you, just because your measurables aren't something that you can change or control. So it was basically at the end of the day, like, no matter what I did on the field, they were still going to look at me the same as the year before, if it makes sense. Just like
No,
my
I know that 100%, dude. I remember when you gave me the call. I was on I think it was like Christmas break or something. I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee with a bunch of my friends, and you called, and I was like, no way, I know exactly what he's doing right here. And then, like, I didn't know at the time CJ was going to move the slot, and you know how CJ is, so I didn't even know if he was going to play because he was suspended at the time. So, like, I remember talking to Maceo a lot, and he was your boy, and y'all, like, had the same, you know, similar style and stuff, and I was like, dude, it's your time. Like, and he ended up having, you know, some key plays for us, but tough time, dude. I was so sad, man. You and Blake, like you and Blake throwing to y'all two for those many years, and y'all both, you know, left early, which I understood why. Like, I got why. It was either, like we talked about the transfer thing, it was either like transfer or go pro, and at least for Blake a little bit more maybe than you. Like, I don't know if you thought about it as much, but like it was just tough times. Like, there was a lot of like toxicity that like stayed around the culture, even though Coach Houston got most of it out, but there was still just some stuff that behind the scenes that people didn't really see.
Yeah, nah, for sure, and it was, yeah. It's funny because I've talked to Blake about it too, and I always say, like, yeah, you started it. Like, you were the first one to kind of go early, first one to leave. But I know that was the best decision for him, and honestly, it just felt like the best decision for me at the time. And you know, it's another year ahead at pro ball, and so there's just a lot of things to look at for me. And yeah, I said once I make the decision, I'm gonna live with it 100% and not kind of go back and say, well, this is what could have been and all that. But yeah, I missed that year with y'all boys for sure.
Dude, oh my gosh.
The
state game, bro?
Oh, that state game, I was jumping up and down at the house. Oh man. That was so lit.
No, for sure. Do you get a chance with your schedule in Canada now to watch the games? Have you seen any of the games this season so far?
So I watched a little bit of the first one. I couldn't catch it all because we were coming back from a bye week, and then this past week I didn't watch it, but I kept up with it on my phone because we had meetings and stuff day after games. But I'm excited to see where they go. They look good. I know they're slinging it now, so we're gonna see. But I like.
Could you imagine if we? I don't know if you've seen the offense that much, but this offense is slinging it like every play and going up tempo, dude. We could have freaking lit it up.
I see the stats and I like it. I'm like, I saw something today. We're ranked like 12th on offense overall or something in the country. Our defense and both offense and defense are up there. So I was like, yeah,
defense is balling out too. Quarterback slinging it maybe a little too much. He's eating some interceptions. All right, Caden just walked in. Caden, what do you got for him?
You like the 7 interception stat, or you said you like the stats? I got to make sure you don't like all of them.
I mean, we've almost thrown for 1,000 in 2 games. That's not bad, huh?
That is true. I mean, they're in the up tempo, dude, is freaking amazing.
I mean, I like slinging it though.
Everyone knows Tyler Snead when he just blossomed onto the scene. I remember me and Tyler in the scout team days. Remember those days, Tyler?
Those are the glory days.
I have one video from us we'll probably post it here in a couple days, but it was NCAA week from 2018. I don't know why I saw it the other day. I found it and we were just cooking first team defense, and then we went and lost that week.
And then the defense got cooked that week.
Yeah. Well, they always used to tell us the opposite. They were like, if you cook them during the week, then they're going to stop them on the weekend. If they're stopping you during practice, then that means they're going to get cooked on the weekend. That's what the scout coaches used to tell us and everything. So
still lost. Isn't that crazy that Sneed, me and you both played, and Peyton Winstead all played as true freshmen, like started as true freshmen later that year, but we were all on the sideline and lost to A&T.
Yeah. I remember that game too. That was crazy. I got to dress for that game, and that was crazy.
Yeah, good times, man. And then Carolina was a good time. Okay, we were talking about how after practices we would sit and just be like, dude, we got to transfer. We got to get out of here.
I was just happy to be there, regardless.
No, we were too. We were too. But I was like, dude, after the SMU game, when we put up 500 yards of offense and then we lost, we were like, what is it going to take to win?
Yeah, those were tough days. But you guys got to – was Tyler You got to go to the bowl game, right?
Military Bowl, not Birmingham.
Yeah, so I never got to do any of that. So you guys definitely got through it.
Yeah, Sneed. All right, I saw one of the Twitter people, and I want to bring up this funny story about the South Carolina first play of the game. Your touchdown pass. So someone was like, he had the guts to stay in the pocket and throw the touchdown. Little do people know, Sneed. I'm going to apologize for this one. I was so hyped to see you throw it, and I'll let the fans know now. I did not block the guy. I was supposed to block that guy.
You're supposed to have the backside end. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you had plenty of time. So, and then you just kept holding the ball. It's like, throw it, Sneed, throw the ball. You just got drilled first play of the game, and I was like, oh my! I didn't realize it was even my guy until like we got to the sideline, and Donnie was like, "You didn't block your guy, did you?" I was like, and now that you say it, no, I didn't. I was watching Sneed trying to throw the ball.
No, I definitely looking back at the video, I took a hit, but in the moment, I promise I did not feel it whatsoever. Like I was so lit off adrenaline. Just once I threw it, I saw Josiah catch it. I was just hyped. And that's how you set the game off. Dowdy was rocking, so
Oh, dude, he was going crazy.
I did not feel it. I don't blame you for getting hit. I mean, I didn't even feel it. It's all
what?
good.
Caden, you got anything?
I think not many people know this. If Sneed was probably 5 to 6 inches taller, he'd be a nasty dual threat quarterback.
He can launch.
He was always launching the ball in practice.
Hey, Thursday practices when we called magic. That was my favorite part of the day. The whole week, really. When I got to throw it to either Blake or Josiah, the two fast dudes running downfield, yeah, I would hold it and just try and launch it as far as I could.
He loved it. And we finally got to run it. Blake actually talked about it on his podcast about how we finally got to run that. Like Blake, it might have been your last or one of your last. No, it was Blake's last game.
Last game because we kept asking him all year to run it, and then SMU we pulled it out and we ended up scoring on it. So that was cool.
Caden.
Sneed, I know like a lot of people probably don't realize me and you came in, both preferred walk-ons. It's not the most glorious way of coming in. You know, it's a lot of hard work. I never got the chance to do what you did. What you did was special, but I don't think a lot of people realize how special, you know, you coming all the way up from scout team, especially being undersized receiver and then being one of the most dominant receivers ever in this school's ever seen. I was curious, you know, how that first year, you know, what was your mentality going in, like knowing, hey, you're on scout team, and then obviously becoming one of the best receivers this school's ever had?
Yeah, well, I appreciate. I don't know about all that, but I appreciate it. But
Stats
coming
don't
in,
lie, Sneed.
nah. Coming in though, it was like a whole different world. I don't know how the adjustment process was for you, but for me, it was like, whoa, like these dudes are bigger, faster, stronger. I'm already not the biggest, fastest, or strongest, so it's just enhanced. So I had to kind of get used to doing different things, I guess, that worked for me, kind of just like finding the open zones, knowing how to not really get touched during routes and stuff. So that was like a big adjustment period for me. And then obviously just trying to be smart and knowing what the defense wants to do and using that to my advantage. But yeah, those first couple of days are no joke. I mean, I remember I came in for second summer session my freshman year when Coach Connors was still strength coach.
Oh gosh.
And I remember running the weighted stadiums after like a heavy squat day and just being like walking back into Gateway of the dorm, and I was just like, I'm paying them to do this. Like I don't know if I want to continue, like if it's gonna be like that. And I mean, you know, Coach Connors, he was like, I mean, the older guys do this in their sleep. Like I was like, oh man. So those first couple weeks, that first summer, that kind of broke me into like, oh, this is your introduction. But it honestly was good for me because I did get bigger and faster and stronger than I was in high school, which I needed to. And then, yeah, just getting used to being out there playing. Scout team helped a lot. I know 14 was slinging it out there on scout team. Y'all don't know that either, but we can drop the clips. Yo, we can drop the clips. 14 was absolutely slinging it. So that's why
cheesing right now.
No, well, that's part of the reason that all the receivers kind of look good too on scout team is because like Quarterbacks had to make plays too. Quarterbacks had to scramble out of there and make throws. So, I mean, we all kind of worked together and got it done. I couldn't have done it without y'all. Shoot.
I
Those,
appreciate
like I
that.
said, those glory days, grinding it out.
Yes, sir.
Talking
know
about
if
adjustment
that's the
period,
deal.
that was a big thing I can relate to you on. Was you come from high school? Obviously, we were all good in high school,
Yeah.
and then when I started, I was the sixth quarterback on the roster. You had Cirk, you had Minshew, you had Kingsley. It was a pretty thick roster that first year I was on it. And my first day, I threw the ball to Gardner Minshew too hard. I guess I wasn't. I was a freshman. What was I supposed to realize? I was warming up with him. I threw it too hard to him. I'm not gonna say which coach, but some coach looked at me and was like, "What are you? A stupid effing arsler?" And I was like, "No way! Like, this is college football," and it hit me pretty hard. But curious, were there times on the scout team? Because scout team can be tough for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of guys, and Holton's seen a lot of guys, and I know you have too. They're on scout team, and they're doing their best, and it might, they could be making plays, but they just don't make it or get recognized. Was scout team ever, mentally tough for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it worked out for me. I like how it worked out for me, and I don't think I had it maybe as bad as others just because an opportunity presented itself in my first year. And if that opportunity hadn't have popped up, then I could have been 2, 3 years, all 4 years on scout team. So I think like all the guys on scout team, and you know this, like everybody's a baller. Everybody makes plays. Just not everybody gets an opportunity or a shot to put a show on in front of the fans and do it on the big stage, which sucks. But yeah, I'd say it's definitely mentally challenging just being on there and knowing you're making plays, you're doing it day in and day out, and obviously it's against the number one defense, so it's against the guys that are playing on Saturdays. So I think it can be mentally frustrating for sure. For sure, I think I got kind of an easier way out just because I spent 8 or 9 weeks my first year, including camp on scout team, which honestly, looking at it, isn't that bad because I know, like you said, Maceo, he did a couple years, and I know Maceo was balling over there. Caden, you were balling over there. So I think it depends all on opportunity and stuff like that too. But for sure, see what you're saying. It can be mentally frustrating and tough.
Sneed, you obviously were talking about the walk-on life, like paying for your way, and then you went out there and did what you did versus UConn in your first start, 3 touchdowns, obviously, and were just balling. Then you get a scholarship. Like, how was that call with your parents, like, and with your family in general? Because it had to be amazing. First of all, going out there and, like you said, going from scout team to playing and then balling out in your first start and then getting a scholarship. Like, just talk about that conversation with them.
Yeah, so it's actually funny because I found out, I think we used to meet in the mornings with Coach Mo. I found out in the morning meeting that he put me on scholarship. And then he was like, yeah, go ahead and call your parents. And, we used to meet at like 8 in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning. So I go and call them, and neither one of them pick up. So then I go to practice with nobody knowing, and I have to wait all the way until after practice to call my parents again, hoping they pick up, and then talk to them. But no, the conversation once it was had was just, I mean, as you can imagine, it was just awesome. Like both my parents were super happy, super proud. Just hearing them being excited about the situation and being excited for me just meant a lot. And then, yeah, obviously we prayed on the phone, just thanking God for allowing me to do that and for giving me the opportunity just because, I mean, I look at myself and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here, and I couldn't have done any of that without him. So I'd say that was a good conversation just with my parents and knowing where I got the ability from and giving him credit because of it.
Yeah, that's a great story. The fact that your parents didn't pick up that first.
Oh, dude, I'm sure it was eating at you.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I was curious, when you were out in the field, you were obviously the smallest guy. That's just
For sure.
obviously the biggest. I would say the biggest heart out there a lot of times. What was the wildest things, the other teams would talk? The DBs say some crazy stuff. DBs are the biggest trash talkers. What are some of the
Oh
wildest
yeah.
things you've heard from the opposing teams?
I mean, just you know how it is. Dudes are out there and they just say whatever comes to mind. Um, with me especially, I think when I first started, it was bad. And then as I kind of established myself, it wasn't as bad, but like those first couple games, man, yeah, they would say some crazy stuff. Even up here, I remember my first game up here in the CFL. There's a corner who's pretty established, and I remember I lined up, and it was probably second quarter, and I lined up on his side finally, and I remember he was in his stance, and he said to me as I'm about to run the play, he was like, "Oh yeah, like he's over here. I know this side's not getting the ball." Like I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I've never heard somebody say that pre-snap. Like to me, yeah, that was crazy. But you know how DBs are. DBs just talk about, yeah, you could fit in my pocket. Like, oh yeah, whole lot of
That's a good
stuff.
one. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
whole lot of stuff, man.
You do a little trash talking too, though. We did our fair amount of trash talking on the field.
Yeah, I like to turn boys up. I think I did. I think I did more at practice, honestly, than I did in the games. But every once in a while, in the moment in the games, I definitely, talk some trash for sure.
Yeah, me and you talk some trash together. Not many people know that. You're my son out there on the practice field.
Oh,
You remember those
here we
days?
go. Here we go with the jokes. Here we go with the jokes.
What
Nah.
was We'll let you go here in a second. When you look back at like your career, like we had a lot of good times. I mean, we lit it up a lot of times. You have a lot of records here. We have a lot of records here. Like, what was probably your favorite memory in those years that we were together here?
I know you mentioned Memphis, the game after Memphis earlier, but just the locker room after the Memphis game, because I knew that was our sixth win, so that made us bowl eligible. That was our first time in however many years. I'll never forget everybody rushed the field there, then going back into the locker room with everybody, people smoking cigars in the locker room, dancing, having a good time, Coach Houston coming in there, and then going from that to the next week in Navy when Daffer kicked the 50-yard field goal for the win, just that game putting us at 7 wins. I mean, those last two games were probably top two memories for me just because that was like our whole career, what we worked for. Those were like the two moments where you were like, it paid off. Like, this is why I stayed. This is why I'm here. This is what I knew we could do the whole time.
Dude, it was just emotional too. Like I remember that Memphis game was a huge one for us, and like I remember I think we went like 15 for 17 on third down, and I probably hit you on choice like 12 of those times. We just kept running. They would just keep blitzing or just dropping out, and we just kept running it. So that was the one thing I missed. Like CJ was good at choice, but like I could literally throw it in my sleep with you. Like it was literally like that was your route. Do you get any of that in Canada?
They've tried some, but it's a little harder with like that running start, just
Yeah.
figuring out the tempo and whatnot. But no, I mean, those ECU days, I was telling somebody the other day, but I have so many clips of just like before I'm even out of my break, which way I'm going, and the ball's just there, and it just happened. I think we repped it so many times that it was just like second nature for both of us. We just knew where each other wanted us to go and where we were gonna hit them at.
100%. And for fans who don't know what choice is, pretty much Sneed would run about 5 yards and then do whatever he wanted to and read the defense. And it worked. Like me and you literally just ran it so many times that, like you said, I knew it like the back of my hand, and you did too. And the ball, like if you go back to the highlights of it, like when those games when you had 20 catches, like that's all we were just choice, bubble, and then deep balls over top. So good times, Caden.
Yeah, Sneed, you probably have one of the coolest stories, career from your recruiting process all the way through your whole career at ECU. And if you would have stayed, you probably would have broke some of the reception records and been the reception holder. Do you ever have regrets, or if you could do it again, would you have stayed there last year or two?
Podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. Look, if you're looking for a game day belt too, they got the Jolly Roger logo, the official belt of the East Carolina Pirates, baby. Go check them out at ansonbelts.com. Next, I want to give a shout out to Clean Eats. Most of their meals are under $8, so they got pre-made meals, frozen meals, shakes, everything in between. Look, if you want to meal prep, they got that too. Make sure you go check out them at Red Banks Road in Arlington Village. I always get that mixed up, but that's what it is. Go check them out. Clean Eats. Shout out to them guys. Next, we got a new sponsor. I'm pumped about this one. Look, they saw the film review. They loved it, and they wanted to support the pod and the film. Kairos Float and Wellness Studio. I want to read this the right way because it's the first one. Then we'll start rolling from there. Does your active lifestyle have your body aching? If so, Kairos Float and Wellness Studio has your solution. Visit them at 2800 East 10th Street and try their services like float therapy, infrared sauna, cold plunge, and salt and halo therapy that will have your body feeling relaxed and healed. We all probably need after the interceptions on Saturday. Contact them today at kairosfloats.com. Kairos Float and Wellness Studio, restful intentions. Appreciate them for supporting the pod. That stuff, I got to go. You'll probably see me there when you show up there. So shout out to those guys for supporting the pod.
It's tough looking back because now I know what they did. I mean, they had a great year. So, I could go either way. Like I said, I told myself whichever one I chose, I was going to stick to it 100%. But, obviously I'm human. You can't help but look back and, wonder what would have been. So it definitely would have been a good year, fun year by far. Go get to another bowl, but it didn't work out. So I'm hoping me and Holt can play together again soon one day.
Shoot, come play in Texas, baby. Let's go. Yeah. I was talking about the UFL, man.
Man,
I'm playing next year in the UFL.
There we go. Put choice in. I got you.
Let's go. Sneed, appreciate you joining, dude. You need whenever you make it back to Greenville, we'll have to get together, dude.
I know we got a bye week coming up soon, so I might have to come down there. I'm hoping it's a home game. I'll have to check and make sure. But, yeah, I'm definitely got to come see a game.
For sure. Hit me up, brother. Good seeing you, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right. See you, man.
See ya.
Appreciate Sneed for joining the show, dude. One of the best teammates. Like, we talk about the choice route, Caden, and you know what that is. Like, it seems like he would be hard to throw to. I love throwing to him because he would even go up and get deep. Like, he would go up and dunk on people, dude. It was just a good teammate. I'm glad we got him on the interview.
Yeah, Sneed was a special player for sure. And I think people, even him, like, overlooks how he got to the position he is. He says he's 5'6", maybe he's 5'4".
5'4".
I love Sneed.
Oh my God.
We always harass each other. But, like, seriously, even 5'6", 5'7", like, what he did as a walk-on, he should have never even played at ECU, let alone play his freshman year and become one of the greatest receivers ever at this school. So, his story is truly impeccable, what he turned out to be, and he's even a better person. He's a great teammate. And like you said, like, he's that one guy on a field that every game you knew he's going to have that dog in him, and you felt bad for the person he was going to go against because he was, one, either going to cook them on the routes, especially those choice routes. He's just God-given natural ability just cooking people with his hips, and then even blocking. People always underestimate.
He's a dog.
He would stock block guys so much bigger than him. He would go and crack a linebacker. Like, that is one guy who size doesn't show it, but probably one of the biggest hearts I've ever seen in football.
100%, dude. We had some really good times together. And I joked about the transfer thing, and that was something we talked about behind the scenes. But, like, he was talking about, like, me, him, and Blake. Then when CJ got here, like, we really didn't want to break up that group together because, like, yes, it was tough when we were losing, but, like, at least we were doing it together. Like, we were all just so close, and, like, it was just really good times because, like, we would always stay after every single practice and throw, like, 5 days in the summer. It's like 100-something degrees we're throwing. We play soccer, tennis, or whatever it was called after. And it was just, like, so many good memories with him. Like, it was good just to catch up.
Yeah, it was great catching up with him. And I hope he's not mad that I called him 5'4". I didn't mean that.
It's a 5'4" short. All right, let's talk about this past week with ODU. So a lot of people have asked, obviously, we did the fifth quarter call-in show with, like, our initial reactions. But, like, we're 2-0. That, first of all, that's the initial thought is we're 2-0 with a huge game this week versus App. But we have to fix the turnovers. Like that Captain Obvious, I know. But, like, ODU is a good team. App State is a better team. You're not going to win that game next week if you turn the ball over even 3 times, Caden.
No, I agree. I think we need to point out the 2-0. First time since 2016.
Yep.
Remember who, like, it's that crazy that it was 2 presidents ago. Barack Obama was president when we were 2-0 last. What's even crazier, if we win this week, George W. Bush was president last time we were 3-0. So we have a big thing to come up on this week, and I'm feeling super confident, guys. I know last week I gave, Garcia a lot of credit. I was like, he's going to fix the mistakes. They were really bad mistakes against ODU. Like, watching the film, really, really bad mistakes. But seriously, I think if we can limit turnovers, and if we're going to turn the ball over, turn it over in our territory, not with our backs against the wall. Don't throw a pick six. Don't give the ball over and on our own 10-yard line. If we can turn the ball over maybe on our own 5-yard line.
Is that the conversation we're having now?
I know, it's crazy.
If we can turn the ball over on this side instead of this side, we're going to be okay.
Well, the thing is with Garcia, he has that moxie in him. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's completely off. Let's call a spade a spade. So I believe he's going to have some turnovers. I think that's inevitable at the point of the season we're at right now and what we've seen. He's leading the nation in turnovers. I think we should expect turnovers. It's just like when you turn the ball over, turn it over in the right place of the field.
I mean, is that good enough to beat App State though? Like, look, I'm really impressed. He can throw an out route, a field out route, as good as anyone. He has really good arm strength. But then you look at some go balls, and he'll like he missed Anthony Smith earlier on a go ball, early, I think it was first drive of the game maybe, on could have been a touchdown or a huge play. This offense is built for the deep ball. And I went over it in my film session that I released inside the film room, and the first pick, he holds the ball and then forces it into double coverage when he has a post over top for a touchdown. We got to start hitting these deep balls. That's what this offense is built to do. This offense is built to rack up yards off of the mom and pop, the quick pick and pop plays where you hit the hitches, you hit the bubbles and stuff. But you get your touchdowns out of the big plays. You get and the big runs because the offense is going to widen out receivers and stuff like I talked about in the film session. It's going to give Rajay more room to run the ball. But you got to hit the deep balls, and that's going to catch up to us. The turnovers are, but also not hitting deep balls is going to catch up to us if we don't start this week.
Yeah, I think we see, we saw in practices, we saw in the scrimmage, he has a ginormous arm. And like you said, he can throw a nasty out route, pinpoint accuracy, a lot of velocity. But then, like you said, he'll underthrow the go ball, he'll underthrow the post. And then a hitch route, a simple hitch route seems to be his hardest throw to hit. It's always low, it's always in the dirt. I am questioning, is he trying to place balls? Some routes he's more confident. Some routes is he trying to place it in there? Or is it shoulder pads messing him up? I don't know. I think the last part was just me trying to find another excuse. Do you think he's trying to place balls?
I don't think so. One thing I will say about that is the wide splits, and I've talked about this too, is the wide splits, the receivers are so wide out there, and RPO, which already slows down getting the ball. Hitches, you got to have the ball before they turn. Sneed was talking about it on those choice routes, the ball was out before he even turned around. That's how those closer routes have to be because those DBs break as soon as those receivers turn around. So he's already behind RPO faking it, run faking it, and then he's also behind because the receivers are so far out there, but that's the offense. You got to be able to get it to him.
Well, let's take it back. You say he's behind on the RPO. Why is he behind the RPO?
Snaps. I know you're a big snap
I know.
guy. They do got to fix them, but yes.
It all starts from the snaps as well. Now, I'm not taking all the blame off Garcia. He has to get those balls to the right in the chest, early, accurate, on target, deep, you know what I mean? But, you say he's late in the RPO. Only one reason he's late in the RPO, and that's those snaps. There's no other reason he's late in the RPO.
Trey, let's go to the positives. The defense is ball. They look extremely good. I think it's a huge one this week. This podcast is brought to you by Worth Chiropractic, 2 convenient locations on Arlington Boulevard where there's everyday back and neck pain, or if you're an athlete and got back and neck pain, Dr. Worth and his team are the answer. Make sure you call 1-800-BACK-DOC today to make sure that you get your back to being you, man. Check out Worth Chiropractic. Next, I want to give a shout out to Mattamuskeet Goose Club. Look, you've seen the t-shirts, you've seen the polos, you've seen the hats. They got everything. Wallets, keychains. Make sure you check them out. Even college edition stuff. We've given away. The fans have loved it. You guys will love this stuff. Country, classy, college, everything in between. Go check them out. Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Wayne Hardy Law, personal injury lawyer. If you've been in a car accident, Wayne Hardy Law is the person to call at 1-800-INJURED. They will make sure you win your case, get you your money, help with the rental car, and everything in between. Best, though, they'll treat you like family. They're a true Greenville company. That's the Wayne Hardy difference. They got a veteran quarterback coming in here who started multiple, games for them, beat them last year, obviously, in Boone. Like, they're going to have some moxie to them. Yes, they just lost to Clemson. This is a big game for ECU. Like, playoff ramifications. I know I sound crazy saying that. Look, App State's out. You would imagine. They did lose to Clemson, so if they went out, they're in. I would imagine if they, win the Sun Belt. ECU goes undefeated, though. We got a chance, but it starts this week with a huge one versus App.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's like you said, it sounds crazy, but if we win this game, it looks big to the committee when they're looking at that last G5 school to get into. And I think we get past Liberty, we get past App. We've been saying it for a while. I think we have a pretty clear path if we can just lock in the rest of the season. I think the biggest challenge here is App's known for their stretch run. They run the stretch runs. They're known for pounding the rock. It's funny. They're called the Rock, their stadium, but they pound the rock hard. And like you said, they have a very veteran quarterback. He's been there. He played in big games before. What our strong suit is, I think, is stopping the run. So
Defensive line,
that defensive line, they're a veteran bunch, really has to step up against this hard-nosed App run game. And I'm feeling confident to it. I'm feeling really confident. We have, I think, some of the best corners in the G5. With Siobhan and the rest of the DBs. Like, I'm perfectly fine with those guys playing man because I think they can cover it. It's just, hey, can we stop a run against a legit G5 offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the thing is can you stop the stretch? And that's something that they've ran for years. No matter what coach was in there, they've continued to run the stretch outside zone. But so that's why, first of all, that it's going to be big for the DNs. Chad and those guys, JD, Sam Duncan. It's going to be big for those guys to step in because they got to set the edge, is what they call it. They got to stop the tackle from pushing them out because if they get pushed in, the running back's got to crease. So it's going to be big there. My big key takeaways from last week, other than the turnovers, is the run game for ECU. If we can establish a run game for ECU, it will keep us in games with a good defense enough where we have time to figure out the quarterback stuff. Garcia has shown flashes of being really, really good. He's also shown flashes of being bad, yeah, and not even.
I'm not trying to say bad dog.
Other than the interceptions, he looks good though.
Yeah,
so that's what's crazy is like he has a lot of potential both ways, and the run game and the defense has given us the ability to keep him in there longer than maybe you would if you didn't have a run game, if you didn't have a defense.
How do you lose games? Turnovers. So that's why I said bad. But one thing, like you said right there, is can we establish the run game? I know we're probably down one running back, but we still have 3 good running backs. Like, we had 4 good running backs. I think we forgot about mentioning that last week, saying 3. I mean, we still have 3 good running backs. So one thing I hope is find what back is hot. If it does rotating, Gunn came in, had his hot streak series. Rajay had a game that we've been waiting for years for him. I'm super proud of him for that game, and hopefully he can, do that over and over again. But if we have to bring in, London Montgomery, let London Montgomery come in. Feed the horse, not the horse, but the running backs called horses sometimes. Feed the horse that's hot, and then rotate them if we have to. It's just one thing is find the run game, and then if someone's balling, let them ball and rotate them as they need rotated.
Well, Rajay looks really, really good. He looks like freshman Rajay. One thing I would expect App State to do is make us throw it. I would expect them to come into the game and play man coverage, blitz a lot, and say throw the deep ball and throw short intermediate passes and be accurate with it, because that's what you got to do versus the blitz and man. You got to throw slants and you got to throw go balls accurate. And what were we just talking about? His short game and then deep balls were inaccurate right now. So that's something I would expect out of them. I haven't watched them too much on film. I just know how App State is. They usually got really good talent. They got a good culture, good coach. I'd expect them to play a lot of man coverage and blitz on Saturday.
Yeah, and one thing is, I think a lot of people gave Clemson a hard time after their loss to Georgia.
Yes, Georgia.
It's Georgia. Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama are always
Texas.
And Texas and whatever, blue blood I forgot. It's always going to be good. They're always going to be great. The best players in the country. Clemson's a pretty good football team. And I think we were all thinking, I think everyone's thinking App State. They're known kind of with Boise, the giant killers. And like, oh, wow, App State just got murdered by Clemson. It's like, no, like that happens. It's supposed to happen that way. So I think we still are dealing with a really good App State football team. I think, that just happens. A Power 5 school is going to beat up on a G5 school sometimes. So one thing is we can't get overconfident. We got to come, prepared for this game. And I think we're going to be playing a really good App State team. And one thing about App is they travel. They travel well. Like, expect a lot of black and gold in the stadium. We got to be louder than them. We got to come out and show some support for the Pirates this week.
Projection time. We do this every week. It's been easy, but now it's a little tough, Caden. What are you projecting?
So I'm projecting, and we can say it's feel. It's all feeling, but I'm Pirate to the core, and I think we squeak it out. I think it's going to be a really close matchup. I think probably, a 28-26 outcome. It's weird. I know 26 is a weird number to choose in football, but some weird field goal special teams plays, and I think we squeak it out.
I'm going to take – I'll tell you before, I don't feel great about it. Just 100% honesty. The turnovers are starting to scare me a lot. I'm going to take the Pirates just because I'm a Pirate at heart. I believe in our defense. I know those guys.
Well, if you don't feel confident, don't take the Pirates.
I'm not going to take the Pirate money line when I put money on it, but I think this is my projection. We're putting it on the podcast, so I'm clearly going to talk about it. Let's go Pirates 21, App State 13. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I would take the under in it. I think our defense is really good. An offense, if you're going to win the game, you got to run the ball. Running the ball, choose up clock. I think it's going to be a lower-scoring game.
Yeah, and one thing I think as well is I think the Pirates played a pretty good OU team.
South Carolina went out and dogged Kentucky.
So I think we're in a good spot. I think the only concern I have for this team, I know we're walking back a little bit, is the turnovers. I still think this could be an electric season, but the two hardest games of the season are this week and next week. So I think that's why we feel nervous. It's not that we're down. We're just nervous. We want to see us win these two big games. Hey, and don't get down the Pirates. Remember what Jeff Blake said? Even the lunch lady believed
on the Pirates.
The lunch lady believed the Peach Bowl season. We need our QB1 to believe as well.
Dude, I believe. Are you kidding me? I just picked us to win.
You said you didn't sound confident.
Okay, one thing I will say is the turnovers scare me. Not hitting the deep ball is something that even if you stop the turnovers, you still got to hit go balls. In this offense, you got to hit big plays. We're relying on ECU to have big run plays. Other than Keaton and Chris Johnson, how many other times in the history has ECU just relied on big plays being run plays? You got to have deep balls in the pass game. That's really my biggest concern.
They're coming.
I hope so. Anything else before we end it, Caden?
No, I'm excited for this week. It's going to be, like I said before, awesome environment. Probably one of the best environments we're going to have this year. Unless, obviously we win the next two games, and I think every game should be a great environment. But I think it's going to be the most electric game of the year.
Let's go. We'll see you next time. Go Pirates.